The TUC has waited 15 years to get a prime ministerial convoy pitch up at its annual gathering. But Keir Starmer didn't bring much cheer and seemed to acknowledge that his was a message of gloom.
Now, no one in this room wants to hear such a gloomy forecast. I get that. I don't want to be saying it either. It's not how any government would want to begin its work. Thank you, Congress.
Axing the winter fuel payment for 10 million pensioners wasn't mentioned. It was, he implied, one of many measures people wouldn't like. And when he headed back to Westminster, he got an indication how many of his own MPs felt they couldn't support it.
The noes to the left, 348.
The government's no votes beat off an attempt to reverse the winter fuel payment cut by 120 MPs. But that concealed dozens of abstentions, including this brand new Labour MP, abstaining on one of his first ever votes in Parliament.
I urge the government to think very seriously about delaying this proposal and in its place putting forward a pensioner task force to look at ways in which we can tackle pensioner poverty in the UK.
Only one Labour MP voted against the government, joining some of those who were suspended for rebelling only a couple of weeks after the election.
I was not elected to impoverish my constituents and put them in this hardship. So I did regret voting for a motion put forward by these characters, but I will have to because there's no other mechanism.
There was a feeling on the left that Keir Starmer's Labour Party was trying to sieve out lefties. And are you not heartened, as a member of the left yourself, that there were quite so many abstentions today? Maybe quite a few got through the system.
Well, I think it's good that the MPs have been doing their job and raising their concerns on behalf of their constituents with our government. We support the government. We want to see our Labour government succeed. We want to see our Labour government undo this toxic legacy we've got from the Conservatives. But from time to time, sometimes governments under huge pressure get it wrong.
What do you feel this tells us, this vote today? People around Keir Starmer thought they'd managed to get pretty much a parliamentary Labour Party in their own image, banish the left.
Oh, yeah.
Looks like quite a few dozen abstained on a vote they really didn't want them to.
There's still a few of us left, and of course the newer people will develop into their own political personalities as they get used to being here.
Rob Trewella is a pensioner living in Cornwall. His pension income puts him just above the cut-off for pensioner credits, so like most, he loses the winter fuel allowance.
£221 per week. To get the extra payment, it's £218 per week. So
you get pensioner credit?
Pension credit. So I'm penalised by £2.80.
That's what you're out by?
Yeah. If I only have my state pension to live on.
Where will you live?
Well, along with other people that I've met recently, a lot of people are going off grid, either living in a hand-built shed, a cabin in the woods, or even living in vans. We've got a lot of people down in Cornwall living in vans.
No impact assessment, no notice. This is an appalling way to govern.
Mel Stride led the Tory attempt to embarrass the government and for his troubles was thrown out of the contest to lead the Tories not long after. There are now 4 candidates left in the contest to lead the Tories.
Gary Gibbon. Well, earlier I spoke to Darren Jones, Chief Secretary to the Treasury, and I began by asking what he thinks of the Labour rebels.
All of my colleagues in the Parliamentary Labour Party know that this new Labour government was elected on a mandate to get a grip of the public finances and the economy, because the public know and suffered the pain of when Conservative ministers lost control and crashed the market with higher interest rates, higher food prices and higher rent and mortgage payments. I understand it was a difficult decision today, but it's one of a series of difficult decisions we're going to have to make to get a grip of the public finances so that we can fix the foundations and rebuild Britain.
Do you think people who vote on their conscience on these matters to defend constituents, those should be punished by the parliamentary party?
Well, it's for the Chief Whip to decide how to deal with the one Labour MP that voted against the motion today. But it's very clear that the Labour government has the support of the Labour Party and indeed the House of Commons in taking the decision we've taken today in order to get a grip of the public finances.
That MP who voted against the government, John Trickett, says he will sleep soundly tonight because he voted for his constituents. How soundly will you sleep, knowing that some pensioners will go cold this winter and some may die as a result?
So as a matter of fact, that pensioners, which are the only group of people in British society protected against inflation with the triple lock on pensions, will be better off. £900 confirmed in April 2024, and from data today it looks like it's going to be over £450 confirmed from next April, at a time when energy bills are lower this winter than they were last. So it's just factually accurate to say that pensioners are better off as a consequence of our commitment to the triple lock. And I would just say to John Trickett, or the comments that he made, that this Labour government was elected to get a grip of the economy so that we can deliver better public services for people across the country, so we can get the economy back on track and we can get away from people suffering the pain of the behaviour Tory ministers unleashed on the economy when they lost control only a year or so ago. I think people can rest easy knowing that the Labour government is going to do just that.
This may be correct in terms of policy, that's debatable, but it's certainly been really politically damaging. Do you think it has been worth annoying, alienating perhaps 9 million people for £1 billion in saving?
Well, you're right, Krishnan, to point out that the £1 to £1.5 billion that we save on the winter fuel payment means testing today, targeted at the poorest pensioners that need it the most, is only a small part of the £22 billion black hole in the public finances this year that we have to close as a consequence of the last Conservative government. But actually, pensioners on the whole, as well as members of the public more generally, want to be able to get hold of their GP or get an appointment at their hospital, or to be able to get the care they need in social care. And we're only going to get a grip of our public services if we get a grip of the economy and our public spending. And that's why we had to take this decision today to target taxpayers' money at pensioners that need it the most, whilst closing the black hole left to us from the Conservatives so that we can fix the foundations.
I mean, right now, you are the government that is famous for taking money out of pensioners' pockets and for letting prisoners out of jail early. Is that something you're comfortable with?
I have to be clear, Krishnan, the issues that we're dealing with in terms of the prison population or the black hole in public spending is a legacy of the Conservative government of the last 14 years. This Labour government has been in power now for, over just 2 months, and we are having to take the difficult decisions to deal with these issues, to fix those foundations, to reset the public finances so that we can start to deliver on our promises in the Labour manifesto and rebuild Britain. And as the public know, the first and most important mandate of our manifesto was about being trusted on the economy and being trusted with taxpayers' money. That's what this Labour government is delivering on.
Darren Jones, thank you very much.
Thanks.